And good morning to you. You're welcome. You're welcome to the morning show. This is GH Today, and it is always a pleasure coming your way every morning here on the show. My name is Serwaa Amihere. Today, quite a number of things to talk about, and I want us to do it together like we always do. We know that over the weekend, through till this week, there was fire in the Ashanti region. Yesterday, the Member of Parliament for Serwaa and the Minister for the Interior, Muntaka Mubarak, went there and decided to donate 1,500 bags of rice to them, about 800 cartons of oil, and about 1,000 boxes of soap. But the traders outrightly rejected them, saying that is not what they need. And I want to find out from you if you think they're justified in refusing those items. We'll talk about that, because that's what we're doing for Inside Out this morning. But I don't want to just be here and be ranting and be venting and be going on and on. I want to hear from you. We're streaming live on X, on Facebook, and on YouTube. A little later, Mutala will join me. We'll talk about the petitions that are being received by the president on the removal of the Chief Justice. This morning, we will take you through what the process is if a Chief Justice is to be removed, or a Justice of the Superior Court is to be removed, what the processes are, as clearly spelled out in Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution. And we'll get into the details of that. You don't want to miss it. So please stay with us. And many other things. The guests will join me. We'll get into the conversation. That is what our show is looking like. But as always, like I have even said earlier, let's do it together like we always do. You're welcome. Let's begin the show with our quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is by GHOne or Dyson. I hope I got that right. And it reads, I hope you realize that every day is a fresh start for you, that every sunrise is a new chapter in your life waiting to be written. This is our quote of the day, our daily dose of motivation for you. I hope that you realize that every day is a fresh start for you. So today is a fresh start. I don't know what is happening with you. I don't know what happened to you yesterday. I don't know what happened to you last night. I actually don't care. But I want you to see today as a fresh start, as the beginning of a fresh start for you. And you take that up as you go about your activities today. Let's bring you our word of the day now.
Today's word is acclimatise. Acclimatize. It's a verb. Acclimatize means to become used to a new place, situation, or climate. Let's exemplify it. It took Nanama more than a month to get acclimatized to the weather in Ghana. Acclimatized.
And now let's bring you our video of the day.
1, 2, 3.
2025, Adum PZ in Kumasi was hit by fire. Now, it went on for days. There's been a lot and lots of reactions on social media. You have seen it, many videos from the place. Things have been said, things have been retracted and whatnot, but you have seen it. Many people have visited there. The former Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has gone there, donated 200,000 Ghana cedis to them and 1,000 bags of cement to help them revive the place. Well, yesterday, the Aswase Member of Parliament and the Minister for Interior visited these traders, and you see on your screens how devastating and far-reaching that fire was. Yesterday, the Minister for the Interior, who doubles as the Aswase Member of Parliament, the Honorable Muntaka Mubarak, visited these traders, and the traders rejected the things that the minister brought. What did the minister take? The minister took 1,500 bags of rice, 800 boxes or cartons of cooking oil, and then 1,000 boxes of soaps. These traders, in the video that you're currently seeing on your screen, were shouting Yempemo. And those are the items on the screen as well. You see the bags of rice, you see the cartons of oil, and then the boxes of soap. These traders shouted angrily that they do not want the food and the relief items. What they need is financial support and infrastructure restoration rather than temporary food aid. I know I have seen many reactions on social media that they should be ignored because it's the usual politicking. But the question really is that what they need? We know, and it's important to state, that when the fire happened, the regional minister, Dr. Frank Amwakohene, announced an immediate package of 600,000 Ghana cedis, including 500,000 cedis from a philanthropist and 100,000 cedis from the Gender Ministry to assist the most vulnerable victims. But this rejection of the rice, the oil, and the soap, which was presented by the NP and the Minister for the Interior, for many people is understandable. And I don't know, I want to hear from you. If you had your shop burned down, would you be happy to receive rice, oil, and soap from government? I know I have heard some of the traders also believe or say that there appears to be some attempt to get rid of some of them from there. And that is something they will vehemently resist. But this brings me to a much more bigger problem that we have to be looking at as a people. Safety in our markets. Just a couple of months ago, we saw what happened in Kantamanto. We saw how traders have had to lose almost everything. In fact, they lost everything. They lost everything. And as we stay here, as we sit here, people have had to build their stores from scratch again. And it is not the first time it is happening. If the Makola market is not burning, it's Kantamanto market. Now, Adum PZ. I know that NADMO can only give relief items. And it's also understandable that these traders are angry and will reject the food items or the relief items. And they want infrastructure support. They want financial support. I don't know what government intends to do, what the plan of government is. But I also do know for sure that CSOs or foundations, Ghanaians who care will certainly come through for some of these traders. But the bigger problem that we need to be looking at is how these things consistently happen. Like I said, I want to hear from you. Drop your comments on social media. Do you think that the traders are right to reject these relief items that were brought by the Minister for the Interior? Do you think that they should just accept it? what do you expect them to do? But what would you have rather have them do? Let's hear from you. You can tweet at me using the hashtag GHToday, or you can tweet at me at Serwaa Amihere. But that's it for Inside Out. Stay with me. After that, there's Court Today with Murtala Inusa. And coming up now is Court Today with Murtala Inusa. Murtala, good morning.
Good morning, Serwaa.
How are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
I do not like what you have on your table as your constitution at all. Because
I know.
Because
it's why for the students.
It's for which students?
The primary school. Basic schools.
Are you a basic school student?
This one is for. So I tell you what. You note that at one point in the Chief Justice's mentorship program, so they do share for the students who come. So this one is
but at your level, this is not what. Yes, you need an actual, not the bigger. You need an actual constitution.
I agree with you.
Anyway. What have you got for us today?
Yeah, this morning we will be discussing some few issues. In fact, one topical issue that has come to the fore, which has to do with the head of the judiciary, the Chief Justice. You note that the day before yesterday, there was a statement from the presidency communicating to the public that 3 petitions have arrived on the tables of the president, and same has been referred to the Council of States for further action. And this morning we want to share with you, our viewers, what exactly the issues are, and then what the Constitution says about how a Chief Justice could be removed or who will be asked to exit office and all of that. So this morning is one of the things that we'll be sharing with you. And of course, the Akwetia MP saga, the Supreme Court, the disputed parliamentary seats, all of that. And James Jachikwesin is also back at the courts. Very interesting. So, Serwaa, these are the things that we'll be sharing with you this morning. But first, let's go to the Constitution. Let's look at the petition that came for the removal of the Chief Justice. And on your screens now is a former Chief Justice, Justice Enim Yeboah. And Justice Enim Yeboah, when he left office, there were some issues that also he encountered in relation to this very case about removal of the Chief Justice. There was a petition
when he left office.
When he took office,
right?
When he was in office. Thank you for that one. When he was in office, ASEPA petitioned the president for the president to remove the Chief Justice at the time, Justice Enim Yeboah. And one of the concerns that he shared was to think that there was some bribery allegation, and he thinks that looking at that, and for the CJ to be alleged to have gotten himself involved in that particular situation, the president should impeach or to have him removed. Fast forward, the ASEPA went to the president, but it didn't happen. So let's look at the next slide. So this one happened on the 13th of January. So on your screens again, the matter was referred to the Criminal Investigation Department of the Ghana Police Service for further investigation. In fact, the CJ, when the matter came to his attention, in fact, asked that it be sent. And this particular one, expert officer went to the General Legal Counsel for the investigation and all of that, because the allegations that came to the fore also involved a lawyer and all of that. So in the reigns of Justice Enim Yeboah, an issue of petition to have him removed also came up, and that's at the end, it didn't see the day of light. It never materialized until he left office And then so 23rd August 2021, President Akufo-Addo dismissed that petition from ASEPA to have Justice Enin Yeboah also removed. And that was not all. When he or have that a copy thrown into the public domain. And let me go through thrown into the public domain. And let me go through Article 1.4. Article 1.4. Larissa, please go back again. Let me take you through Article 1.4. Larissa, please go back again. Let me take you through Article 1.4.6. What he says about how a president can have a chief justice removed. Said the president shall, acting in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee consisting of 2 justices of the Supreme Court.
Yes, I mean, I think that before you get to this part, we need to give the viewers some context, right? So the president does not just get up, or the chief justice cannot just be removed because someone says that they want the chief justice removed. So it's removed. So you talk about Article 146 of the Constitution, and it will not be fair to just skip, because
I think
you need to read the Constitution or the document as a whole to get the intention of the lawmaker, right? And 1461 says that a justice of the Superior Court or a chairman of the regional tribunal, we don't have tribunals anymore, shall not be removed from office except for stated misbehavior or incompetence, or on ground of inability to perform the functions of his office arising from infirmity of body or mind. And I know that many may think that the Chief Justice is not mentioned there, but the Chief Justice, before he becomes a Chief Justice, is a Justice of the Superior Court.
Absolutely.
So
it's one of the
a Justice of the Superior Court cannot be removed except for stated misbehavior. And so you don't just get up and say that, as a citizen of Ghana or whoever you are, I don't like the Chief Justice, so I want to send a petition to the President for the Chief Justice to be removed. There has to be good grounds of stated misbehavior.
The lines are very thin.
Certainly, I mean, it is. So based on that premise, if you think that a Chief Justice or a Justice of the Superior Court, is incompetent, is unable to perform the functions of her office based on all the issues that we have set out, then you can petition the president. And the president says, we are told that the president has so far received 3 petitions for the removal of Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu, right?
Tokonu, yes. So the premise that you have just given followed with this particular point that is on your screen over there. So in consultation, so the president doesn't do all this on his own. You have to consult the Council of States, and Council of State, this particular Council of State, we have some interesting personalities there. The former Chief Justice Gertrude Sophia Akufo is involved there. Justice Sophia, another Sophia Adinyira, is also involved over there. And of course, the chairman of the committee is Edward Joe Ajahu. And in fact, so the president will refer the petition to the Council of State. And if there is a prima facie, and that is where it becomes very difficult to determine at what point in time is the president able to, upon receiving the petitions, determine if there is a prima facie and then refer the matter to the Council of State. We are saying this because if you look at the previous petition that came from Kweku Azar, the president clearly states that there's no merit in that particular. So it didn't even go to Council of State, or was not referred to Council of State for Council of State to come up with that particular, or to advise the president on that, as far as we do know. 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom shall be appointed chairman by the president, and 3 other persons who are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers. So who and who can be? If you're a lawyer, you're not part. If you're a member of Parliament, you're not part. If you're a Council of State member, you cannot be part. So who else can be part? Maybe somebody like Serwaa can be part. You cannot. Right? So that's one of the things that you have to look at it, or the president will have to look at it. Then the next step is that the committee shall inquire into the petition and recommend to the president whether the Chief Justice ought to be removed from office. So the work of the committee is very, very interesting, very, very key to the final arrival of what next step or the steps that the president can take after referring the matter to the Council of State, and a committee is set up, and the committee sits and look at its work in relation to this very petition that has come out for asking that, in fact, petitions, 3 of them, asking that the president be removed. And all of this will also end at one other stage. All proceedings in this particular committee, when the committee is dealing with the issues, proceedings are in camera. So it's not open to the public to go there and then listen to whatever happens. So it states that all proceedings under this article shall be held in camera, and the justice or the chairman against whom the petition is made is entitled to be heard in his defense by himself or by a lawyer or other expert of his choice. In this case, the Chief Justice is the one who is to appear and then respond to the questions that the petitions are being asked. So she will have to appear by himself or herself. In fact, this one, she. So herself, and or by a lawyer or by an expert of her choice. So that is one of the things that the situation that we have now by way of the petitions we'll have to look at. And the president shall act in accordance with the recommendations of the committee. So whatever recommendations that the committee will come out with, the president is to act on that. And where a petition has been referred to a committee under this article, the president may, in the case of the Chief Justice, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State by warrant signed by him, suspend the Chief Justice. And so, well, this is where it gets very interesting. The president has that, upon the advice from the Council of State, suspend the Chief Justice. And people have been asking, so if the Chief Justice, it happens that she's suspended, what next? Would that particular position become vacant? And that one takes you to Article 144. Article 144, Clause 6, states something very interesting. And so, well, let me just, for the purposes of our viewers, let me just go to that particular provision and then state to you why, when the seat of the position of Chief Justice becomes vacant, what should happen in relation to that. And if you look at Article 144, Clause 6, it states clearly that where the office of the Chief Justice is vacant, or where the Chief Justice is for any reason unable to perform the functions of the office, 1, until a person has been appointed to and has assumed the functions of that office, or until the person holding that office has resumed the functions of that office, as the case may be. Those functions shall be performed by the most senior of the justices of the Supreme Court. So in this case, in case that the president decides that, look, after looking at the petition and the Council of State, upon advice from Council of State, decide that let's suspend the Chief Justice, then the most senior on the Supreme Court bench is the one to preside. But the question is, so currently, the most senior at the Supreme Court is Justice Paul Bafo-Boni. But the question is, if Justice Paul Bafo-Boni happens to be the chairman of that particular, one of the 2 justices who are appointed to chair the committee that will probe into this, what then happens? You move to the next senior most on the Supreme Court bench. And that's one of the things that may likely happen. So the president may, at any time, revoke a suspension under this article. So once the committee comes out with comes out with the recommendation and feel that, look, we have looked at the petition and we think that there's nothing for further action. If at the time the Chief Justice has been suspended, that suspension will be revoked for her to take back her job. So in what has been happening in relation to the petitions to the president, which we have not seen, these are some of the things that...
Well, I think that... Thank you very much, Mutala, for the explanation. But I think that, there was something that I was hoping that you would address, which you have not. So I remember I asked you to read a certain case. Yes. GHOne
and then
versus the Attorney General. Now, when you look at the provisions of Article 146, and I know that you have your Constitution, right? So Article 146(3), okay, talks about a petition for the removal of a justice of the Superior Court, which demands the Chief Justice to establish a prima facie case.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Now, when it comes to the Chief Justice, in her removal, or a petition for her removal, is in Article 146, Clause 6.
Clause 6.
Right?
Absolutely.
And if you read the provisions of Clause 6, it says that where the petition is for the removal of the Chief Justice, the President shall, in acting in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee consisting of 2 justices of the Supreme Court, which you've gone through.
Absolutely.
Now, Mutala, the question is, you know why I asked you to read the Frankie GHOne case? Because it cannot be, if you look at the differences between clauses 3 and 6, you can tell that when it comes to a petition for the removal of a justice of the Superior Court, a prima facie case has to be established.
That's the first thing.
Exactly. But when you read the provisions of Clause 6, there is no demand for a prima facie case to be established. And then, so the President, in that Frankie GHOne case, was just going to go ahead, establish that committee to determine whether or not the Chief Justice should be removed. And in the interests of natural justice and fairness, and to prevent frivolous petitions, because you made reference to previous Chief Justices and petitions that had been received that had been dismissed.
Absolutely.
Clearly, they were frivolous. If not, we would have had something good come out of it. There has to be an establishment of a prima facie case. And that is why the Frankie GHOne case went to court. And there was a determination by the Supreme Court that the omission of the establishment of a prima facie case in Clause 6 does not mean that in the case of the Chief Justice, a prima facie case need not be established.
Absolutely.
Do you get what I mean?
I get your
so
point.
that is the whole crux of the matter, which I wanted you to read the case for.
And thank you very much for highlighting on that particular. Prima facie is key in all the elements that you want to establish in court.
Certainly.
But it is the only way that makes it very relevant why you need to invoke the law and then the law works. So once you go to court and then there's no prima facie, the chances are that particular case is dead. And so prima facie, in its simple terms, is find out whether there is a case. And once there's a prima facie, that is why the Chief Justice will be allowed to respond. Remember that in recent time we saw a similar petition from the President to the Chief Justice to act on it by way of the Office of the Special Prosecutor.
Certainly.
Yes.
But in this case, the President, just to let our viewers know that the President shall not just go ahead to set up a committee to determine, because remember the subsequent provisions that you read, the President is bound by the decision of the committee or the recommendations of the committee. So if the committee says that the Chief Justice should be removed, the President has no choice than to remove it. But it will be totally unfair for the President to just forward a petition to the said committee without establishing a prima facie case in consultation with the Council of State. And so I just wanted people to know that, you know, that yes,
it's very fair and it's very straightforward. First, that prima facie ought to be established, and to put that into context will let people understand why when Kwaku Asa's petition went to the President, it was never referred to the Council of State for the next line of action, because in the eyes of the President at the time, there was no prima facie, and so that particular petition cannot hold. So it was dismissed in its entirety.
The President also, to be fair, cannot on his own decide or determine whether or not there's a prima facie case.
So
you understand?
The question now people are asking now is that when the President receives it, is he going to have that? Is he going to study that with the Attorney General? Is he going to study that with the Council of State before determining?
No, so, Mutala, there's the case, the Frankie GHOne case.
I've not read
the case. That's okay. Yeah. But the Databa JSC, yes, said it very clearly, and I want to read it. That look. So this is what he said. There is a parallel need for a process which ensures an independent determination of whether there's a prima facie case against the Chief Justice.
Underline independent.
And I consider that the reasonable implication to be made from the context of Article 1466 is that the Council of State should play a prominent role in the determination of whether there's a prima facie case against the Chief Justice. So, the President cannot on his own decide, at least per this ruling, it should be done in consultation with the Council of State. Then they will then go ahead. The President will go ahead to set up that committee if there's a prima facie case.
Also, you realize that at the Council of State level, there are committees even with that. So, in respect of this one, I understand that there's a Council of State committee in charge of judiciary or justice delivery, and that is why this particular petition, once the President decides that, look, Council of State, have it and look at it, that particular committee, which I know Justice Serwaa Akufo, the former Chief Justice, will be playing a role. Another former Supreme Court judge, Justice Serwaa Akufo, will also be playing a role in all of that. So it's getting very interesting at the position of the President receiving the petition, deciding whether there's a prima facie, who is supposed to assist the President to establish that prima facie. And the decision that you just read also made reference to the Council of State. And now, the whole matter has been referred to the Council of State. Look at it and then take further action, advise the President and all of that. So it's getting very interesting. We'll get the lawyers to throw more light on this for us as and when we have to do that. So, Serwaa, it's been very interesting, and for this particular one, will serve as an education for people who think that the Chief Justice can just be removed by the President issuing a statement and say, effective today, you are no more. You should exit office and hand over all your documents to the Judicial Secretary in relation to that. But what is clear is that there is a petition, and we are told that the petitions, not one, not two, but there are three. But we have not also been able to see the content of those petitions that have been sent to the President. But in the coming days, we'll get to know more about. But what is also clear is that in situations where the Chief Justice is suspended, the senior-most person at the bench will be the one to act. And in this case is Justice Paul Bafuboni, who is the most senior of all the Supreme Court judges in the country currently. So this is what we have in relation to the issue of the petitions having the Chief Justice.
What else have you got?
Yesterday, the Supreme Court had a sitting in relation to the Akwetia MPs saga, the contempt matter, the restraining order, don't go and be sworn in as allow yourself to be sworn in as a member of Parliament and all of that. And then we know what has happened at the High Court in Koforidua. But yesterday, Serwaa, when the matter appeared at the Supreme Court for Ernest Yaokumi and his lawyers to be heard, one issue that came to the fore was the issue of gazettes. They make the point that before the High Court was taking the decision, the EC has not gazetted, or that election result has not been gazetted. And they were of the view that it was gazetted on December 24. So even at the time that the court was taking the decision in January, it has been published. Now, the NPP side also came out with a gazette which purport to say that it was gazetted in January 6th. Now, there are two gazettes before the Supreme Court yesterday. One gazetted on December 24, which was brought by the NDC, and then the other from the NPP side, which was gazetted by which said that was gazetted in January 6th. Now, the EC was called upon to authenticate which of the two was the proper one, but the indication and the submission made by Justin Amenevo, one of the judges, said, no, you have not assisted the court in any way by the explanation that you have given us. So now, on the April 30, the Supreme Court will have the honors to make a determination in relation to Ernest Yaokumi's issues at the High Court. But let's hear from lawyer for the interested party, that's the NDC side, Bernard Bediakun, yesterday on the issue of gazettes.
This is instructive. In fact, that is their case, that it happened without a gazette notification. Per what is before the Supreme Court, was there a gazette notification or not? There was. They haven't said that what we exhibited is wrong, or is improper, or is fake. They haven't said that. And so if there is record to show, even if it is today, that the court has come to know that indeed it had been gazetted on the 24th, that ends the matter, because they are saying that as at 31st we filed the petition, the Electoral Commission had not gazetted the results. If we have record, even today, because jurisdiction could be raised at any time, and so if they are raising it and it turned out that indeed we had the notification done on the 24th, I think that ends the matter.
So that is the lawyer for the interested party, and the interested party in this case, the NDC parliamentary candidate, Henry Boachi Yato. But of course, Gary Nimakun, who is the counsel for NSC Alkumi, also has this to say.
Oh, let's wait for the court to determine it. If indeed there was gazette, why did they ask the court to prohibit gazetting? That was the question. This was the gazetting. Why did they say the court should prohibit gazetting?
Okay.
As at 2nd of January 2025. So please, let's wait.
So that is lawyer Gary Nimakun. So let's wait on April 30. That's when the Supreme Court takes that decision and all of that. But Serwaa, that was not the only issue that came to the Supreme Court yesterday. You know, the aftermath of the election, there are some parliamentary elections that are in dispute. Yesterday, that issue is not dead yet. It came up at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court was supposed to hear the motion from the NDC side about case for him to answer or not, the prima facie that we were talking about, whether there is a case in relation to the charges that he's facing. If there is a case, he will be asked to open his defense. But if there is no case, he will be discharged, and that will put finality to the case in court. And of course, Namwan is also back in court today in relation to the charges against him and all of that. So these are the two major cases that we should look forward to today.
Thank you very much,
Serwaa,
Mutala, for bringing us all of this interesting stuff on court today. That's it for court today. Stay with me. After the break, the guests are here. We'll get into the conversation. This is GH Today. You're welcome back to the show. This is GH Today. I'm Serwaa. It's time for the breakfast review, and I'm joined in the studio by Professor Titus Bayo. He's Member of Parliament for Lambusi. Prof, good morning, and you're welcome to the show.
Good morning, and good morning to my colleague, and then to our viewers.
Great. Yeah. Matthew Nyindam is Honourable Member of Parliament for the Pandai constituency. Good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning, my dear. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Okay. Well, it's nice to see that you're all here this early, because I know that Parliament closed very late last night.
Yeah.
What were you doing?
I was just telling my senior that I've had less than 4 hours of sleep. We're trying our very best to pass the bills. The financial sector bills that were submitted alongside the budgets and the economic policy. And so, from the point of view of Parliament, this morning we can say that E-levy is gone, waiting for assent for...
So it's not gone?
I mean, to get His Excellency, he will assent to it, definitely. But Parliament has done its part. What the people have elected as the people's representatives to do, we have delivered. The betting tax is gone. We have passed the law to look at the changing our tax refund ceiling and several other bills. That's what we're doing. And I think the most important one for me as a medical doctor is that, and it was perhaps the last one that we worked on, and I stayed till that one was passed because I was very passionate about it. I think we were able to undo one of the greatest sin committed by the previous administration to the health of the people of this country, which was capping the National Health Insurance Fund,
right,
or levy. Because I think that was one of the worst, maybe a cardinal sin that they committed. The levies that we are paying towards our health, you will place a ceiling on it, take the rest into a central pool, and use it for whatever government wishes to use for. I think that is very, very unacceptable. I mean, everything else was bad, but I think that one was worse. That for our very health could be taking care of the lavish style of the executive, could be supporting an elephant-side government, could be used for flying in jets, private jets that you can take a shower in, when someone needing cesarean section may not be able to get it because NHIS is not adequately funded and releases are delayed. So that has been undone, and I'm very excited about that one. That was the very last one that we did this morning. Yeah.
They promised and they have delivered, haven't they?
Well,
there were you guys in the NPP were unsure.
Who wasn't sure?
Oh, a lot of you. You said that they will not scrap E-levy. They will find a way to, manage the expectations of Ghanaians, and they have delivered. In fact, they have delivered within time. They said the president in his social contract said within 90 days of his administration, E-levy and many of those, as they call it, nuisance taxes will be abolished. And they've done that.
Anyway, let me say good morning to
Will you congratulate them?
Let me say good morning to the good people of Pandai and your viewers. And good morning, a special one to you too. And then my professor. Prof. I like the way you started this morning. What is it that you said we were saying Ghanaians they will not do? We never said they wouldn't do it. We never said that. And when you are presenting your first budget to Parliament, you have a social contract between you and the people of this country. You've campaigned that when you come, you abolish E-levy. You abolish betting tax. It is your responsibility to do that. There is no way the NDC government could have come to tell Ghanaians that, look, for some reasons, I am not going to honor the obligation or the social contract that I have signed. There is no way the NDC government would have done that. And this is not new. Sometimes we behave as if we've just visited this country. 2017, you see, the euphoria that the NDC is even enjoying now is less than what we had in 2017. They are just doing about 3 or 4 taxes. We have done over 10. We promised the people of this country there were taxes that were imposed on cutlasses, hose, condoms, all those were nuisance taxes, pharmaceutical industries, banking sector. They impose tax on all these sectors, and we promise the people of this country that when we come, we will making sure that all these taxes we're going to be off our books, and we delivered it in your first budget. It is your first thing you have to do. So it is not news. What they have done is not news. In any case, after the E-levy, even the MPP that today we are blaming introducing E-levy. In our campaign, we promised Ghanaians that if we get opportunity, we're going to give.
So why did you bring it in the first place? People didn't believe that promise because in the lead up to the passage of the E-levy, there was a lot of agitation. It was very visible. You knew it. People were angry. You still went ahead to pass it. Members of your party, members of the then government were visibly heard saying that whatever the NDC does, they will pass the E-levy. And you truly did. And on the icing on the cake, you cut a cake to celebrate it.
You see, what we are saying, I'm not going to say you are not speaking the truth.
But you can't say that because that's what's happened.
You see, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo was the president of this nation. And the backstops are same. He is the one that governs. Any other person is a supporting staff, including the vice president of the Republic of Ghana. That is what the Constitution says. We are running an executive presidency. It's possible you tell people something, they believe it or they don't believe it. Obviously, if I am part of a government and I'm speaking against that government, people would not believe me. But I am myself. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, if he had gotten the opportunity to become president, he would have been president, not a vice president. But be what may, is the NDC that we are talking today. They've got the opportunity to govern. So after abolishing the E-levy, the betting tax, and all those things, they have no choice than to do it because that's what they told Ghanaians. I am very sure that by the close of today, the president is going to sign on to that, and then E-levy will be gone, betting will be gone. That is not a debate at all. Nobody's challenging it.
So congratulate us.
What congratulation doing? There's no congratulation in this. You just come, if you give your wife chop money, what have you done? Your wife should be congratulating you like giving her chop money.
We have done what
you haven't done that. You see, when you talk about one of the greatest enemy is capping the NHIS levy, and you describe it as worse.
Yes,
I know. That's what you said.
Yes, of all the taxes that the capping that you did.
You see, who brought the NHIS levy? The MPP government saw the need to have a dedicated fund for health and introduce it. Capping and recapping thing that we've spoken about, there is nothing new. It is a policy that all ministers or finance ministers will come and use their discretion. Look, even upon the capping, payments to health sectors were better than when you guys were in government.
That is contestable.
It is contestable. But I'm telling you that if you go, it got to a time that under your regime, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's first term, service provided to NHIA couldn't pay. You couldn't pay them. They were indebtedness. But then nobody capped the fund. You were owing them. It took Nana Addo Akufo-Addo's government to come and settle some of these debts. If today you have uncapped the NHIS levy, it is good. There's nothing wrong with that. In any case, it is not a new money. Capping funds and recapping funds is the same money. It is at the discretion of the finance ministers. He has come and he's telling the people of this country that, look, I am not going to cap. I'm uncapping, and I want to dedicate all funds to the payment of health service. We are waiting for it. Don't just celebrate. You see, it's too early for you people to be celebrating the way you are celebrating.
No,
I just want you to know that as a responsible minority,
yes,
we will be supporting the cause of government. We will hold you accountable. Tomorrow, don't come and tell us different stories. That, This is the reason why we are not paying health service providers. This is the reason that we are not paying service providers. You have painted the picture as if just uncapping these funds is enough to solve all our health matters. So we do not have a problem. You are supposed to be governing. You have brought in new ideas, new energy. Ghanaians have voted for you. As a responsible minority, we are supporting you. We will be watching. Whatever ideas you bring, good or bad, we will look at it, analyze it. Where we have to give you absolute support, we will give you. Where we have to criticize, we will criticize. If you look at what happened yesterday, obviously after Parliament, from today, tomorrow, we'll be closing after 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, because we are supposed to rise on Friday. Yeah. And because the budget is there, we have to do appropriations. We have to make sure that everything is tight before 31st. We will do late nights and morning. And as a responsible minority, we will debate it. We will talk about it. But if you look at the report, all the reports that came from the committee were unanimous. There was no objection. We didn't have any problem with it. So let's see what happens. These are early days yet. If today my mother go to the hospital and it is free, she will enjoy. They will say you are MP's mother. Same to your mother or your sister. So let's all see what happens. So, but it's too early for you to read.
So I think we must give credit to where credit is due.
Which one is the credit?
And the point I just want to make is
but
that...
which one is the credit?
Yeah, so the credit is that you have a leader who says A and does A.
Okay.
And is faithful to the people of Ghana, is sincere and honest to the people of Ghana. We cannot take that as ordinary. We've had a president in this country that his own MPs came out demanding things out that he should grant that he never granted.
Right.
So let us not see it as ordinary. When you have had an extraordinary leader, a faithful leader, an honest leader, let's celebrate those virtues. This is a man who promised us 60 ministers as of today. He's around 54. He's not even reached the 60. Our colleagues on the other side say, oh, he should come and explain to the people that he's sorry about it. He cannot keep it because they did it before. His Excellency Kufuor made the promise that the government was too big. When he got there, he said, oh, I realized that, no, it is not possible. So I'm sorry. And then increase it. Nana Addo came and even ballooned it more. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama says, I'm bringing this down to 60. We are at 54. You can't take that as ordinary. We've never done that in this country. You have seen someone set up his entire cabinet within record time. Every single thing His Excellency has said, he has done it. He's running away from some of their previous statements because indeed, when we made statements that we're going to make these tax, they said we could not support the budget, and that if we cancel E-levy, how are we going to block the space that it creates, the vacuum that it creates? When the finance minister, Dr. Cassiel Atuforsen, sat down with his team, thought of creative ways to utilize money and minimize losses and contain everything within the budget, they were surprised when just by tinkling with the ceiling on the tax refund account, he's been able to generate enough resources to fill a lot of the vacuums.
Has he?
Yes.
Okay.
He did justify it before the House and everybody saw it.
Okay.
Right? And again, we say we're going to make sure that we run a lean government. They try to argue that it means that we are appointing several more people to the presidency, and we prove the data wrong. That with their over 88 ministers, they still had more appointees at the presidency and the vice president's office than we are having. So we cannot let this pass as ordinary. And I think that we must recognize the distinction between the NDC and the MPP when they are in government. One thing that happened yesterday, when we were passing the tax on the mineral resources, it was not a unanimous consensus decision. It was majority, because they were insisting that they thought it was a bad bill. But why? We are a social democratic party that believe in redistributing the wealth of this country. Instead of passing on taxes that will punish the ordinary person. We are increasing taxes on the companies, the mining companies that are earning windfall profits and are taking them out of this country to make sure that that wealth is available to the ordinary person. And you say this is bad? No. We commend their efforts so far in Parliament. We commend the support we have received for them. We cannot say they've not done their best as a minority. They've done their best. Yesterday, they stayed true with us till this morning. And we commend the minority leader and the entire minority. But truth must be told that this is a government that is keeping faith with the people.
Okay. But, you know, while all of this,
Yes.
I mean, since the announcement by the then flag bearer, now president, that E-levy and all those taxes will be scrapped.
Yes.
It's been met with a lot of public, you know, applause.
Yes.
Even from yesterday.
Yes.
But one of the major concerns is the revenue losses that this is going to bring. E-levy and a few of the others was bringing about $520 million. How do you intend to, you know, fix that revenue gap that we're going to be experiencing as a result of this?
So I will just give you one simple explanation and tell you that, again, that if it were the other side, you would hear argument that because US has withdrawn USAID funding, they are going to have a lot of challenges, and that explanation will be drummed home on every single thing, like they did to Russia, Ukraine, and then COVID. But when you have responsible government, when you have leaders, you take decision in crisis and manage the situation. We are faced with a crisis. What has the His Excellency done? First one is that he's cutting spending. I am a labor unionist. I have participated in a lot of tripartite negotiations, base pay negotiations in my entire life as a labor unionist. I have never had a situation where when we are negotiating base pay, the president himself comes in, right? But this is a president who came in and the labor leadership could see the sacrifice he himself has made. He cut down government spending by reducing the number of executive appointments. He has issued directives already on first-class travels, all of that.
But were there first-class travels here?
Oh,
from Ghana?
Are you not in this country where some people brought in what were supposed to be austerity measures and they were not measurable? They were not measurable. When we ask the questions, that when we were in the crisis, we asked, cut down government expenditure, cut down this, show us how much you've been able to generate from that. Did you ever get a figure?
That's a different question, but I'm asking, were there there first-class travels in?
I don't have people's travel itinerary. I cannot tell you the manifest of various air flights for government.
Because for a very long time in Ghana, the only airline that was operating first class or had a first-class cabin was Emirates.
Yes. And people didn't travel on Emirates?
BA, business class. I'm asking you.
No, I'm asking that didn't people travel on Emirates?
I wouldn't know. You
well, I have traveled on Emirates that, of course, as a commoner, I walk past by them.
It's not true.
I walk past by them and go to the back, whether it's business class or first class. I walk past by them.
You were walking back to where? Which class yourself?
Oh, to the ordinary one, where we belong.
So today, if you are traveling, are you going to sit in the economy or are you going to sit in the business class today?
What I'm entitled to.
And you see now you are talking about your entitlement.
No, I will sit in the economy.
You are talking about entitlement.
I will sit in my economy unless someone offers me something else.
This is not true.
So what you are entitled to
you are not talking about entitlement,
right?
Yes, it's economy. That's what I know of.
You are entitled to an economy.
That is what I know.
When you went for the tutorials and then when you went through the workshop, is that what they told you?
I can tell you on authority that I have not traveled on business class on government funds ever.
No, you're not an MP. Those days you were not an MP. Today you're an MP. I'm asking you, why will you travel?
I haven't traveled.
Exactly. So when you travel, I will make sure
that's a legitimate question. Would you reject the business class to save government?
Will I reject?
Yes, the business class and travel on the economy.
Am I going to be given a business class? It has not been offered.
Okay, so let me tell you, as an old MP, every MP is entitled to traveling on a business class. You have that entitlement. You are here. You are a man of your words. will you reject it and travel on economy?
If the president
It is not about
No,
president.
I'm coming.
President don't
this is
control our
based
travels.
on this is based on the statement, and the statement is that in cutting down costs, government has brought some guidelines. If the guideline says that all members of
Professor
parliament,
Titus Bates, please don't answer the question directly.
No, I'm saying that
we
I
all
will
know what the
obey
president
whatever
said.
the guideline
But the
is.
president has already said. But the president doesn't control parliament. He doesn't tell you what to do.
His guideline
As an old
is-
MP, he
yes.
has told you that you are entitled to travel on business class.
Yes.
Will you take it?
Why not?
That's your
Okay,
entitlement.
let's move
That's
on.
all I like.
Okay.
Good. That's
Why
your
not?
entitlement.
Why not?
Thank you.
And I'm saying there is no national directive.
Why don't you travel on economy to save money?
How will that save?
That's all of that money is our taxpayers' money, isn't it?
And I'm asking you, or the statement I'm making is that, is there a directive? What I've said is that we are going to obey what the directive is. Is
But
there a directive?
Even without a directive, in the spirit of wanting to save money, why don't you opt for
Then
economy?
why don't you ask me, why didn't I walk here? Because if you want to save money, then we shouldn't even drive.
Thank you.
No,
So, no, you see,
Thank you.
there are guiding
are
principles.
you using
Thank you.
official vehicle
Nope.
as a parliamentarian?
I'm
What you
not
were
using
given?
official
You haven't
vehicle. I've not
gotten
had
it
one
yet.
yet.
Yes.
Yes, I drove my own car.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that, look, if there is a directive, we obey that directive.
Okay.
But the point should not be lost that I'm making the point that His Excellency has introduced austerity measures.
Okay.
And those austerity measures were graciously recognized by the labor unions. Is the reason why they agreed to the 10% increment. And I'm saying that they would agree because they see that you yourself, you are living that life that you are asking them to live. And so it's very easy for people to understand and to join you and to empathize and join the nation in the direction that you want to go. How we are managing this budget or this economy is that we are cutting down significantly on government expenditure. We are redistributing the revenue that is coming in to make sure that we can meet our demands. We met a huge deficit, so we cannot get up and say at once everything will be solved. We continue to ask the people of Ghana to be patient with the government while we take these measures. We'll go through tough times, but we are living those tough times with you. And we are not living a different life from you.
That's how you intend to show up revenue.
Yeah,
from
and that one I gave you the answer because
$520 million.
right, I just told you that just by increasing the ceiling of the tax refund account,
Okay.
we are generating about 10 billion, if I remember the figure well, and that was going to cover a lot of things.
Okay.
I don't have the figures offhand, but this is what was explained to us in Parliament, and he can testify to that.
Okay.
So that is going to close a huge vacuum that is being created by these tax realignments that we are doing.
Okay. All right. You wanted to say something?
Oh yes, a lot. You know,
Okay.
he said a lot of things, and
Yeah.
then I have to come in.
Sure.
You see, when you are governing and you still think that you are in the campaign mood, it will come back to hurt you. It will come back. You see, you don't have 4 years any longer. We've done 3 months, and we are entering the 4th year. It's important we focus on governance. Nobody will say that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is not a man of his words. I will not say that. He's not new to me. I know him. Ghanaians know him. He's come to fulfill some aspects of his promises. He's gone around. He's told the people in this country he's going to be a president for everybody.
Yes.
He's never going to. People are going around. MPP saying when he comes, he will sack people. He will sack people. He will never sack a single person. He will keep the persons and he will bring some other persons on board. Create a lot of employment for the people. Today, by the time we end the 1st quarter, people that he has sacked per the directives from the chief of staff will be numbering thousands. Because people are taking undue advantage of that particular write-up, and they are sacking people that were even employed somewhere June, July. Those people are home today. I don't know whether they are not Ghanaians. It is up to Ghanaians to judge whether he has fulfilled his promise or he has not fulfilled his promise. When you promise people and you come to government, It is easy. Your first days are normally good days. When we came and then we abolished all the 15 taxes and so, we have to find a way of looking for resources that will take care of those tax handles that we have removed. It is the same challenge you are facing today. I am fine with some of the measures that Ato is taking, aligning, removing the capping, bringing down the threshold on the tax refund, thinking he's going to use some of those monies on his own and target, because normally all these monies goes into the consolidated fund. And because they go into the consolidated fund, it is assumed that finance ministers abuse them. They abuse it. They use it in their own way. But this time, he wants to remain more targeting. If that is enough for all of us, we are all in this country. We wish him well. But I just want you to know that if it is about credibility and all those things that you are talking about, the first 4 years of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, there is no single promise we've not fulfilled. No single promise, including the free secondary school education. That brought a huge burden to his governors. But he never saw the need to postpone it and re-implement it some other years. From day one, he saw the need to do it. Some of these taxes that we are talking about, you talk about Ukraine war, COVID-19, some of these taxes came later on. And in governance, if you are in governance, people will say all manner of things. We thought that was the best way to generate resources, the E-levy. And the way E-levy is handled, any tax or any tax that will suffer the kind of injury that E-levy suffered will survive. The kind of propaganda, the kind of noise, the kind of... I don't even know how to describe it. So at the end of the day, they finally implemented the E-levy. People were not happy with it, but it has been implemented. Today, we are happy it is gone. As for the betting tax, it is another topic altogether. I know people today who are not happy that betting tax is removed. I know people, including people in government. Let's watch. Okay, maybe I'm encouraged now to also go into betting because I never knew that it was such a lucrative sector. How we'll look at it. But can we sustain it?
Don't go into betting.
Why? It is good because nobody will tax you. If you make money, you are free. Nobody will tax you.
But was the tax stopping people from betting?
It wasn't, but it is a disincentive.
So then what's the point?
No.
If you have just admitted that
My dear,
the tax wasn't stopping them from betting,
my dear,
its removal will still not, stop them.
My dear, people are still stealing. We have laws that are against people who steal.
Okay.
People still commit murder. We have laws to control it. It doesn't mean that people, if you pass a law, it's enough for people to stop. But it becomes a disincentive for that person. But now that the tax is off, good news. Let's see how it goes. So, after revenue measures here and there, when you are talking about, what is the name? Extension of the levy on the, what is it? Minerals and all those things. We have a challenge. Today, you've moved a tax that was supposed to end 2025 to 2028. It is a way of generating funds. Is that not the case? So these are early days. I'm just telling you that. Let's leave propaganda out.
But that tax, we should let the public know that it is not on the individual.
You know, every single tax you impose, so the buck stops at the consumer. Every single tax that you impose, the buck stops at the consumer. No. And I always tell people, nobody is happy to pay tax. Even in the Bible, they were not happy to pay tax. That's why they came asking Jesus about paying tax to, what's the name? Caesar and all those things. And for tax payment, nobody is comfortable with it. You can easily get people around you when you come and you are abolishing some of those taxes. Good. I don't have any problem with that. But I'm just telling you that these are early days. Yes. And with travels, nobody. You see, sometimes we pump this into the minds of people and we go and we are struggling with it. Today, as you sit here, if you go to your constituency, the kind of entitlement that they give to you, you don't have it. They say you take fuel allowance. They say you take this. It's because of the way we communicate. No MP travels on first class. No MP travels on a first class. And there's no even first class in Ghana, apart from Emirates. And I don't even think that those flights are even in this country, the flight to this country.
They are.
Well, if they are, that's what I'm saying. Apart from Emirates, all other flights are business class. And every single MP is entitled to travel on a business class. That is it. So this first class directive that the president has given, maybe to his ministers, they travel on first class. I don't know. But no MP travels on a first class. It is only business class that you travel on.
Directive was to his appointees.
Yes, and Parliament is not under the directives of the president. That is no. If you are an appointee, for instance, you wear double cap, you are an MP, you are a minister. In that case, it's if you are traveling on your executive travels, it's different. And when you are on the committee and you are traveling as a minister, you are traveling on the parliamentary travels, it's also different. So the directive is to the executives, the CEOs, and all those people. Exactly. So after saying man of his word, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was a man of his word. He never reneged in implementing his promises. Governance is a continuous thing. Early days, let's watch.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the NPP now, because your party has been accusing the Attorney General of immediate trial in the case of the former NSB boss, and also is challenging what they call harsh bail conditions given to him. So we're being told that his bail was set at 200 million Ghana cedis, and the NPP has said it is excessively harsh and it is unconstitutional. They have also accused the Attorney General of conducting immediate trial when they should be conducting that trial inside of the courtroom. Honorable.
Yes, let me start by saying this. That man in question, Adum, I don't know him.
Okay.
And I'm not sure I know his political affiliations, whether he belongs to MPP or NDC. I cannot say for sure.
Okay, but I can tell you that in the 2024 Manifesto Committee on Security, he was on it.
That's what I'm saying. I do not know him. Okay. I don't know his affiliation. You are talking about 2024 Manifesto. Is that what you are saying?
Yes.
Good. Of the MPP.
Oh, I'm not.
No, I'm just emphasizing.
Obviously, that's what
I mean. Because obviously there were several manifestos. So.
This man in question is a technocrat. He's been there until we came to government. He rose to the ranks to become his director. So, if you are saying today that he was part of the committee that was drafting a manifesto, he could be an MPP member or not an MPP member. That is it, because maybe somebody wanted to tap into his wisdom. That is it. So I'm speaking purely as a Ghanaian, and I think that even the 1992 Constitution, if you go to look at Article 12, 14 going, talks about the rights of every individual. And the laws will tell you, or the lawyers will tell you, one is innocent until proven guilty by the court of this country or court of competent jurisdiction. We sincerely think that nobody is above the law. Nobody, including the Attorney General, is not above the law. And crime is a crime. We are not in as MPP minority to come and be supporting criminals. That is not what we are doing. But we think that give the person a fair trial. Send the person to where the person will have his day. You will have your day. If the court at the end of the day feel that this man is guilty of this offense, then the person can be charged accordingly. All the costs are available to the Attorney General. They are available to him. But if you quickly, as an Attorney General, who is supposed to be, although he's a government person, he's been appointed by government, he is supposed to do government bidding, but he is the Attorney General for all of us. as a nation. Every Ghanaian, he is supposed to give us protection. So if you, the man who is supposed to protect all of us, will first start condemning somebody before the courts, we think that is not fair. Because we all know the court of public opinion. If you pronounce the way the Attorney General has gone about the whole case, people see this man as a criminal, they've condemned him, they think that this man is a thief. In the event that you go to the court and the court you don't get the support of the court on this matter, or it is proven at the end of the day that this man is not guilty of this offense, what have you done? You're going to incite the public against the court. So we are not supporting him to go in there and commit any crime. That's not what we are doing. But we think that the man should be given fair trial. It is the same way today, madam. If it's happening to you, I will speak for you. They should give you the opportunity. Let the court say whether you are wrong or you are right. If it's happening to him, I'll do the same thing. But if we think that the tables have turned and everything we want to do, if somebody is saying something for somebody, means that the person is supporting a criminal act or something, I beg to differ. The minority, we have no interest in supporting anybody. We think that this man is an adult. The law should give him the opportunity. But if you go and put such an amount of money for a bail, it simply tells you that you don't want the man to be bailed. Madam, you don't agree?
Well, but bail conditions do not mean that you have to give cash.
But I'm not sure you give cash. I'm just saying, yes, just look at the amount they are. How many people?
2.
And I'm asking how many people can raise this?
Oh, okay.
How many people have access that you can quantify up to this level? It simply means you don't want to give the man bail. That's the meaning. And then we think that is too harsh. If they think that is the way to go, fine. But we think that if me sitting down here, if you put this bail condition on me, I will be there. Who will come and bail me? I don't have any family member who can even read something closer to this. It means that you don't want to grant me. I'm sure Prof too, they say because we come from the same place. I'm not sure you get somebody to do that. That's exactly what we are saying. Nobody is supporting crime, and we the minority will not support any crime. But we will speak against the ills. If we think that you are stepping on the rights and privileges of people in this country, we are going to talk. Leave that to the courts and let the courts come out with it. That's the little I'll pick on.
Prof.
Yeah. So, well, I am happy that his lawyers are taking this thing up in the courts, isn't it? The bail conditions. So let's allow the courts to settle it and not make our own assessment whether this is too harsh or not. Remember, the Attorney General will not make these requests, or whoever is making these bail conditions will not make them in a vacuum. They will be privy.
It's GHOne that imposed these strict bail conditions. Yes.
GHOne is an investigative body. They are able to get a lot of information. They will not make this in vacuum. So until we hear from them, it's very difficult. If you look at the crime that this man is alleged to have caused, if you look at the facts put out by the Attorney General, the real estates that he's supposed to be owning, I'm sure all of this may have been put into consideration or taken into consideration to come up with such a figure. If you ask me sitting here today to produce 100 million bail, I can't, because I have declared my asset, and you go there, you know that I cannot produce that, and I may not have anyone that can produce that. But definitely some thinking process have gone on into this. So I'm saying that let's leave that bit to the courts. Let GHOne go and prove to the courts why they think he is capable of meeting that bail condition, or what the risk is that they think this is the conditions they need to give him. However, we should also look at what the Attorney General has done. In my opinion, honestly, I don't see anything wrong with what the Attorney General has done. And the Attorney General has not pronounced anyone guilty. He repeated several times during the media engagement that they have investigated, they are still going through investigations, and he will not even proceed to court with any case that he is not convinced that he can get a conviction. It doesn't mean that he will get a conviction, but he must have substantial grounds, legal grounds, that this case is worth pursuing.
Right.
So he's not going to go doing witch hunting, political witch hunting. Someone is alleged to have done this, and they quickly go ahead. I think what the Attorney General did was to bring the nation up to speed with what they have been doing. Because remember, a lot is expected of this administration. We came into power promising to recover all the loot. Ghanaians cried out. People were disgruntled with the opulent life of the political class. People were disgruntled. And when we complained, it was even done more to show you that, look, you can complain the hell. We will do exactly what we want to do. We saw people's lavish lifestyles. And so I was one of our manifesto spokespersons. And we went on campaign, and people will tell you that, look, even if you come and you are not able to do anything new, but you can bring back some of what people are alleged to have looted, we'll be happy with you. Remember, our manifesto was not just drawn by people sitting somewhere. We did a bottom-up approach. We went around, recovered all the loot, came from the masses. People were telling us, we know people who were here, teachers who were with us struggling, and within 6 months of appointment, they are able to go and buy a building here and pull it down and put up another one. We saw documents of people who suddenly were owning mansions around. So there's been a lot of allegations. If the Attorney General works in silence and no one is carried along, people will be very disappointed. All that he did was to brief the state on investigations so far. Look, thousands of complaints were received through oral. Why didn't he come and mention all of them? Why didn't he mention all the ones they are investigating? We are the same people. When they went to pick up Professor Amihere Kumfi, the noise was all over the place. What has he done? So if the man doesn't explain what he is doing, how will we know what he's doing? So honestly, I don't see anything wrong. And he never pronounced judgment. He said he was going to give him a fair trial. He will have his day in court. He will prove if what he has found is true or false. But it was necessary. If this had not been done, and this man had been picked up, no briefing, and he had been given this bail condition, look at the argument that we'll be making, even though we know that he's alleged to have bought 20-something properties in a day or within a short period.
It's alleged or you know?
I say it's alleged.
So
that's the word I use.
Okay.
I'm saying we know that he's alleged to. That's the information that was given to us. This public knowledge. Even with that knowledge in the background, we are saying the bail conditions are harsh. So there will be much more we don't know. So I'm saying that it is important to carry the Ghanaian along. And remember, we don't do these things just for the purpose of doing it. But there is also what we call moral assuasion. The fact that these things are being done will tell you, a young politician, a young technocrat who is risen through the ranks, as he is saying that this man did, that your actions will be judged. I am pretty sure that someone who may be thinking of also carrying out such similar acts just by this expose will be careful. So it is important that he carries the nation along, and to the extent that he has not pronounced anybody guilty, let's leave it as it is. He will have his day in court, and then we'll all hear what the facts are. And I don't know why, if you are saying you are not sure if it's an MPP person, why it should be the party and the party spokespersons that will all of a sudden, his lawyers are fighting for him. Why does it become an issue of MPP against the government? If you think something is not being done right, then give that statement as a general thing. But I see the party is rising to his defense. When the Attorney General goes and gets the security agencies to go and search anybody's home, the party jumps to his defense. They'll come and raise it in parliament. They'll raise a press statement. All of that. You say you're not condoning wrong. Let the people go through the system. If you think the system is being abusive, you have every right to complain. And you have remedies within the law to do. Go through those ones. Thank you.
And that is exactly what we have been doing. We think you are abusing your powers.
But there's something that the Attorney General said, and even the Deputy Attorney General has said, that in the spirit of accountability, they owe the Ghanaian people a regular update on what is happening. Would you have rather, for a party that campaigned heavily on recovering all the loot, keep quiet about their investigations so far? Because the AG said, which he has reiterated here, that they are investigating, or they got a lot of complaints, but they haven't come out to talk about all of them.
Yeah.
Because they want to make sure that they have gathered sufficient evidence. They received thousands of complaints, but they've come to talk about these two that I know of, which is the Adum case, the National Service case. Yeah. And you're saying
and
that
the
they are...
Sky
Yeah, okay, they are prosecuting people publicly in the media. What would you have had them do?
You know something? I don't think I'm old enough, but with my little age, this conversation...
We'll come back to it.
Not necessarily
have been had before.
Any time there is change of government, this conversation, we will have it. So, if it's about oral and people have stolen money, we are chasing people up and down, MPP have done that. When His Excellency Kufuor came and took over from Rawlings, what did we not hear? After Kufuor left, Mills Mahama came. What did we not hear in this country? So, after the chasing people and harassing people and saying they are corrupt here and there, we will keep saying it. But that is not our interest. I'm not sure that is the interest of Ghanaians. Ghanaians are waiting that somebody is alleged to have been A, B, C, he has stolen A, B, C, D. They want their money back. That's all what the Ghanaians are interested in. Mm-hmm. If at the end of the day we make all this noise and nothing comes out of it, what is the benefit? I'm not sure that's what the Attorney General wants to do. And like I said, the party is not against Attorney General going after people that allegedly took something that is not theirs. The MPP is not against it. The minority in parliament is not against it. But we think that please use the system and use it well.
The system.
You don't go into somebody's house without any court order, search, ransack the person's house, do things anyway, anyhow you want to do it, and then you think that because you have power, we should keep quiet. We won't keep quiet.
Attorney General
if tomorrow it turns out that you are off government, which you will be, and they are doing that to you, I will complain. You see, don't let's think that today, because it is MPP people allegedly that they are chasing, we NDC don't have any problem. Tomorrow it changes. If it is NDC people that they are chasing, MPP don't have any problem. Like I said, this man, I've never seen him, and I don't think I will see him. I have no relationship with him. I don't know his party colors. But I think that
you've been told.
No, he's just said the man was part of the manifesto committee. That's what he said. But is that not what you said? That's what look. But people can tap into your wisdom. Okay, people can tap into your wisdom.
That's fine.
Without necessarily you being a
card-bearer member of the party.
Today, if you go to Parliament, although Parliament is unique on its own, it is an organ on its own. There are people today I have seen that they are part of the Parliamentary Service Board. They are MPP people. So tomorrow, if something happens, so you think I should go straight away and say that person is an NDC because NDC is in government? So some of these things, they will come and pass. But I think that as a responsible minority, we will not keep quiet and let things go. Today, Attorney General went to court and discontinued some cases. His cases that we felt like they were people who have looted and people who have taken things that or have caused this country. He came and said he's not interested in those cases. He's discontinued those cases. You don't have any problem with that. Do you have some problem
but
with
that? But if for 8 years, 7 years,
so,
4 years,
but you've forgotten that they said the wheels of justice grind slowly. So we do not want to be seen as people who are against the Attorney General.
That's fine.
For fighting. We are not against that.
I think the fundamental thing is that Attorney General has been following the due process of law. He has stated it during that press conference. He authorized the warrant. They got the warrant before they did what they were supposed to do.
I'm not talking about this man's case.
So,
although this man's case, I'm just talking about general behavior.
Definitely none of us will condone abuses, excesses, where you infringe on people's personal liberties and their freedoms, their privacy, without the due process of law. We will encourage the law to be used. And once that is done, let's give them the space to work.
Okay, before we go, I want us to quickly touch on the Adum fire.
Yes.
Very quickly. Yesterday, the minister was there with some relief items, and they outrightly rejected it. They said that's not what they need.
Yeah.
They want financial support and infrastructure support to put the building back in shape.
Yeah. So, well, you know, that's the nature of our politics. When something very serious, devastating as what has happened, people try to play politics into it. I mean, when you listen to the people, what they said they want, that is what they actually need. You and I need to ask ourselves, is that really what they need?
What they need?
No, they said they wanted to reconstruct the market store themselves. Right? That is what they've been demanding for. You ask yourself, should we keep going in cycles? You construct a market, no lanes for vehicles to move through, no access routes in the event of a disaster, and when you have a fire like this, the tenders cannot even get through. Even evacuating people becomes a challenge. Should government really supervise people to cause this distraction to themselves? Would that be responsible leadership? Is that really what the people need? So sometimes as a father, you would hear your children, you would hear their demands, and you know that this one really may not be that much help to you. I am very sad that people have tried to play politics into this whole fire thing. The markets, the stores that got burned, the goods that were burned, they never discriminated that this is NPP, this is NDC. Without proper investigation, without hearing from the fire authorities, you would hear public speeches from figures, known people. It was from doing so, it was power fluctuation, it was this. I mean, really, why can't we allow for proper, thorough investigation to be done? You want to reconstruct, why can't we sit together, talk through, plan how to do this reconstruction with proper access ways, such that when this disaster should ever happen again, touch wood, that it will not be of the same magnitude. And whatever that supposed rejection meant, there are people who will be starving because all their wares were burnt. There are people who needed that help.
But
it is not an either or. What meant that if you receive this to be able to get some food on the table for your children at home, the construction can still not be done? It was not as though we are giving you this in place of construction. But you see, politics is at play right from the commentary of this thing. And so I am not surprised at it, but I'm very, very disappointed that when it comes to things like this, we would allow politics to lead because the disaster does not discriminate. We should get to a point where some aspects of our life can be depoliticized. Disasters, our health, our education, these are vital aspects of our society, and they are non-discriminatory. So that is all that I would say about that. I was very disappointed when I heard that.
So which area are you talking about the politics? I haven't seen politics in this.
You haven't?
No, I haven't seen it. You see, when disasters like this, people give reasons. People find a way of saying this might be the cause, this might be the cause. Look, for doing so,
let me interject just a little.
I don't have a problem.
But that should not come from that should not come from people who should know better.
Which people?
Who are those?
So we had a statement in Parliament on this disaster. I don't know if he was in the chamber.
I was there.
Good. And the discussion that went on.
Yes.
You will see members of Parliament trying to attribute the cause of the person, the original person who made this statement says allegedly.
Okay.
And the subsequent commentary.
Yes.
We're trying to insist that this is what is coming from. Why?
So that
Is that coming from our political leadership?
So it's okay.
We can't allow the fire service to investigate.
So you've done.
You've
done well. You see, Dumso has been in this country for some time now, and it's more serious in Ashanti region than any other place. They've complained that if you look at the power situation in Ashanti region, especially Kumasi, is becoming too many. There've been a fire outbreak, and they feel like it is at the cost of the Dumso, which is a possible cause. But not a please. It is a possible cause.
But the ECG director there has said that is not the cause.
I'm not saying it is the cause. So even the ECG director.
No, I just want to put that out there.
So please, so the ECG director himself is wrong. Because he's not also going to do any proper investigation. Somebody is alleging that they've been doing so. Are you telling me there's no doing so?
This is what he said. These are his statements.
Yes.
So he said that the market operates on a dedicated distribution line, which is a town hall feeder with an alternative power source from Powerhouse 2. He said that neither of these sources experienced outages before the fire started. Meaning at that time, there's Dumso in the Ashanti region. I have been there. I've been to Kumasi a couple times. I've experienced it. It's quite it's quite higher than what we see in Accra. Then, but he just said that it cannot be at that time.
That is what he's saying.
At that time.
Please, Prof, I'm giving you time, or you still want some time. That's why. No, because you think that it is Dumso, so it's political.
ECG, the same ECG said faulty electrical installations, illegal connections, outdated wiring, substandard electrical components could have contributed, just like what we saw in Kantamanto.
So if he is saying that as at that time, those lines were not having any challenges, why is he adding up that there could be other factors that could cause the fire outbreak in that area? So that's why I'm saying that the fact that somebody is alleging that, look, it could be Dumso that is causing it, doesn't make it political. What is the political aspect about it? What is politics in this? It is the fact that there's Dumso in Asante region, more severe than any other place. That you cannot deny it. As to whether they took the rice or they did not take the rice, that one it is between them and the one who is giving. Somebody is giving, somebody says, I don't want. Why should I be worried about that matter?
But are they justified
it is not up to me to justify it or not, because they think that at this time you are giving us rice. That is not our interest. That's what they are saying. Now, he is generous enough to go there and say, look, I want to offer this help to you. They also have entitled to their self, they are also entitled to their views that, look, this thing you are giving us at this time, maybe we are not interested. That aspect, you can talk about politics, but I am not interested in that, because today, as we speak, people in Adum, people have lost their savings. People have 20 years work that they've done. One day they got up and they cannot find anything. So this is not just a situation that we can sit here and downplay the effects. It is a huge cost to the people. So if we are talking about it or we're having a discussion about it, we should be a bit circumspect. And I think that we should rather be sympathizing with the people more. And I agree with him. Sometimes the way our markets are planned, some of the way the wiring and all those things, there are things that we as a nation must look up to. Why are there people also complaining that, look, we don't want you to come and construct a new market or come and do this or come and do this? Because sometimes when they get opportunity and the construction is done by government, the ordinary person loses his place. The ordinary person is not able to afford. All these things, I think that as a nation, we must all begin to look at and do things right. Because if we keep doing the way we're doing old things, then it's possible we'll be getting the same results. And go to Katamantu today. The people have reconstructed their markets. They've done everything. But my worry is that even if if you intend to do the reconstruction yourself, try to leave some space, so that in event that there are fire outbreaks, fire tenders can come in and assist. Because if you look at the market in Adum, where I watched it live, I was with a sister station. It was very difficult for fire tenders to be able to go in and help fight the fire. Agreed. These things can be talked about. But if we talk about politics here and there, I don't see the politics in this. As for the Dumso, is there. People must find a way of solving it. If that is, you think people will not talk, people will talk. The Dumso is there.
The Asante region electrical power challenges, the power minister himself, the energy minister, has been there. They've worked on their transformers, their bulk supply units, to make sure that it improves. I am expecting, according to his word, that in the coming days we should see something.
That is what we are all
praying. So we are hoping for that.
Yes.
And that is not the typical Dumso that we'll call Dumso, because it's not as though we are having generation capacity challenges. No. But we empathize with them. It is not acceptable for anybody to have low currents or power fluctuations here and there, outages here and there. But something is being done about it. It took the minister himself there, and he has given us his word. He's made this on the floor of Parliament as well. So I'm sure it will be fixed. But I'm pleading with our mothers, the market queens, and everybody involved in this, that as much as you want to return quickly to business, let's think about the future as well. Get the states, the city authorities involved. Let there be some planning. See, today is fire. Tomorrow may be something else, that we need an ambulance to even get in there to evacuate people, and we can't make it. Why? So let's take opportunity of this very, very, very unfortunate disaster to plan things better for the future generations.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming on the show. Professor Titus Bayu is the Honourable Member of Parliament for the Lambusi constituency, and Mr. Matthew Nyindam is the Honourable Member of Parliament for the Bandai constituency. I'm very grateful for your time. I'll see you again, God willing, next week. However, we have a conversation with the Member of Parliament for Asin South. My colleague Lily Mohammed had that sit down with him. I want you to watch it. I'll come back and continue with the rest of the show.
Back to the show. It is still Hard Talk here on GHOne TV. My guest is still seated, Reverend GHOne Ntimfodjo, is a Member of Parliament for Asin South. He was a former Deputy Minister for Education. He's now the ranking on the Defence and Interior Committee in Parliament. He has a few qualms with the management and handling of fire service personnel. He also has issues with the military shake-up. Why do you have issues with the military shake-up? Every president comes in, he wants to feel comfortable with the people he works with.
Yeah, very much so. And that presidential prerogative, no one is taking away from the president until such a time when the bill that I want to champion, together with my friends, on providing security of tenure for security chiefs.
Okay, so, you're sponsoring
the bill. It's something that we are considering very seriously.
Okay,
so to provide security of tenure for all security chiefs, from Chief of Defense Staff, IGP, Chief Fire Service Officer, and all the Director General Prisons, Controller General Immigration, just like we've done for the Chief Justice, we've done for Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, we've done for the Special Prosecutor, such that if a turnover occurs and a new president comes to meet these security chiefs midterm, they are compelled to work with them until their term ends. That is going to be a big boost for professionalism within the security sector, and ensure that impartiality and neutrality and professionalism are heightened. So every officer at that rank will know that it's not about who I voted for, and it's not about which party I belong, if I may even belong to any party at all. Once I'm in uniform, my loyalty is to the state and to the president elected. So if I even voted for a president who didn't win, whoever has won, I have to align my loyalty to the person and to the state, and to align my operations to the vision of the president. That also will remove the discretionary issues that sometimes, the only time we have had a problem with is President Mahama. We never had a problem with President Kufuor's transition. We never had a problem with President Mills' transition. We never had a problem with President Akufo-Addo. Because 15 generals don't have to go home because you are making changes. All 2-star generals and equivalents and above, totaling about 15 or so, had to be terminated, compulsorily, just because their junior had been appointed Chief of Defense Staff. And that is how the command service in Ghana Armed Forces operates. Some of them have about 4 to 6 years more.
We need to vary the terms of how the command services operate then.
Yeah, so those are some of the legislations I will be considering. Okay. So that subsequent presidents will not have to come and sweep away 15, 20 generals just because I can't work with you, and all that. So that it has a lot of ripple effect on morale. And so that is what we want to introduce, because what has happened is unprecedented. It has never happened before. This many number of generals going home, some having 4 years, 6 years more to serve before their retirement, prematurely going home. We've never seen it. The president had to change 2 or 3 or 4, and that is the best we've seen. But that said, we raised some concerns. Some changes were made. Okay. Even though we didn't get to where we wanted, we need to pause it here and support what has been done, because at least some changes were made. And to congratulate the Chief of Defense Staff, Major General William Ejapong, and all the service chiefs and the Chief of Staff of the Ghana Armed Forces, Vice Marshal Joshua Mensah Lakai, very well-deserved appointment. So we're happy with that. But we are not done. We want to monitor to ensure that the major consequential promotions within the backlog of colonels and lieutenant colonels to be able to fill these positions that have become vacant is even more crucial than what has been done. Okay. Because many have gone. As they've gone on compulsory retirement, the various units and commandants and the various commands and the brigades will have to be, you need generals, some 1-star, some 2-star, to man these ones. And so they are going to have to promote colonels who are due, and then promote lieutenant colonels. Some are so due side that if you don't promote them, this year, by next year, if you promote their junior, compulsorily they retire. So we want to ensure that promotion, which will even affect many more people, is done in straight basis of merit. There should be no political whatsoever considerations, and it should be by rank, it should be by meritocracy, it should be by credentials, it should be by performance, it should be merited. That will boost morale within the rank and file. And so we are going to monitor that very keenly. And we say so because there were some utterances which NDC stalwarts pronounced publicly. Sami Jemfi, the communications officer of the NDC, in 2023 and then consistently all the way to 2024 on platforms which video is available widely. Your producer may even play it. He said he threatened all security chiefs, and said security chiefs in this country, heads of various security institutions, military, police, your term of office is conterminous with that of President Akufo-Addo. The day President Akufo-Addo gets out of office, all of you, your service comes to an end. When he made those statements, they were very reckless. They were reckless, irresponsible statements. Nobody condemned those statements. And people thought that, this one is not going to be anything to go by. But for once, NDC kept that promise. They kept that promise and cleared everybody. Cleared Chief Officer, cleared Director General of Prisons, cleared Controller General of Immigration, cleared IGP, cleared Chief of Defense Staff, cleared Chief of Army Staff, cleared Chief of Naval Staff, cleared Chief of Air Staff, and even cleared all the other 2-star generals. And so it gives credence to that threat that came. And that is why some of us are concerned that military and the security sector is so sensitive that politicians must be restrained from introducing color. And that is why, given how the first one went, we are so vigilant on ensuring that fairly the promotions within the colonels and lieutenant colonels should be done strictly merit-based.
On the other leg, where you say that presidents who come in should be able to work, you're sponsoring a bill to that effect, which will cover that. Shouldn't these things be tabled to the Constitutional Amendment Committee?
Yeah, these are also very rightful for that. Because we're in that season, we're going to make all those proposals. But in addition to that, there are also, yes, it's very, very important because some of the clauses may be entrenched. And so
exactly.
You have to go through referendum. So with this opportunity, we're going to table all these concerns, and we're very optimistic that it will find traction.
You talked about the Ghana National Fire Service and the need for retooling. You talk about the fact that their machines or the equipment have been obsolete for years. Now, the critical question in my mind is, didn't the NPP at the time see all these things? Was the NPP not committed to retooling the Ghana National Fire Service? Because I have sat here on this platform, engaged fire service personnel who sang the same song you're singing now over the years, within the last 8 years.
Yeah, that's a very intelligent question, Lily, I must say. And that is why right at the outset, I said that this conversation ought to be non-partisan.
Why?
It has to be a dispassionate conversation. It is a matter of security and things about security, public safety. We don't have to politicize it because when fire gets a property, it doesn't know who is which one is an MPP property or an NDC property. So, and I also submitted that in the past 15 years, the allocations to the sector have been inadequate. NPP have also been part of the 15 years. So it's not politics we're doing here, but it's a worthy conversation that we must have and address dispassionately. The initial estimation that I know, we need minimum 1 billion cedis.
Okay.
To fully retool the National Fire Service alone.
And kindly, what is the estimate?
I would not, for matters of circumspection.
Okay.
I would have you indulge me so that I don't make certain disclosures.
Okay.
But
because
what we
it's
need,
a matter of security concern.
Yes.
Right.
But what we need is 1 billion cedis to be able to retool the sector. And if I'm to tell you how much is allocated to them this year, it's woefully inadequate. They can't do that. But we need to have a conversation, and I'm very, very excited about the innovations that the Minister for Interior, Honorable Muntaka Mubarak, is bringing on board. And all of us have to support him to be able to pursue those innovations. If we're able to pursue those innovations, we should be able to get to a point where in the medium term, we can raise that billion to be able to retool that sector for the safety of all of us.
As part of measures to retooling the service, are you also considering Parliament? Because we know that the fire station at Parliament it's, for want of a better expression, is under-resourced.
So it's general. We wouldn't pick and choose.
Okay.
We wouldn't say Parliament is more important than any other property, and for which we should just resource Parliament and leave the rest. But we are not also going to say that the Parliament's setup of fire service is not up to task. It is good in the shape and form that it is. However, if an improvement is to come, that's welcome. But we are looking at the generality of the service, and any other sector or institution that will benefit from that upgrade, well good.
Now that you talk about Parliament, I'll veer off a bit from Defence and Interior. You say that for Parliament, we will not pick and choose. I have heard the minority leaders say that Parliament needs a special clinic or a special health facility. Do you as parliamentarians need it?
The health of members of Parliament should not be underestimated, just as any other Ghanaian's health should not be, underrated. And so those calls were conversations that had started. We've had others who also have views contrary to that of the minority leader. But the conversation, the personnel from Ghana Fire Service, they will support you to configure your shop in a way that will be, will be attractive for even insurance to come in. And once insurance is coming in, they will make sure there are proper installations to minimize the risk. And I can tell you, many of the markets in Ghana, no insurance company will offer insurance to them. Because when they come and conduct the actual inspections, the risk will be too high, and they won't give you insurance, no matter how high you want to offer. And so we need to do something about the setup and even the settlement of these markets. That said, we also have to cure the matter of doomsday Dumso has been one of the major issues and contributors to starting fires that have gutted markets. The Dum market incident, for instance, the initial investigations I have done, if you talk to 10 traders affected by this fire in Adum, 8 of them will tell you that it was Dumso. The power fluctuations caused this fire. That is what majority of them are saying. We'll go further to ascertain or whether it is true or otherwise, but it's not something we should discount. So electrical issues and power handling, and it should be looked at. And then the matter of explosives being sold in the markets, as if it is tomatoes or shoes. You can't just sell dynamite and explosives in the market like any other commodity. But there's a regulation that regulates the transportation and storage and handling of explosives right from the ports and all the way to where they have to be kept and where they have to be used. Haven't we learned lessons from the Apiate incident, where explosion wiped out an entire community? It took the state and the benevolence of some philanthropists to come to their aid to reconstruct Apiate. And the whole country, we came up in arms and we had to put in investigations and recommendations here and there. But what happened in Odumase Konongo, goes to suggest that we may not have learned much. And there may be other markets somewhere housing some of these dynamites, which must be dealt with. So it calls for a multi-sectoral collaboration, MMDCEs, Ministry of Local Governments, Ministry of Interior, and all relevant agencies to come on board. Let us strictly enforce the rules that have been put into our laws and ensure the safety of our people.
You said that you spoke to, from the investigations you've conducted, you spoke to a few traders and they say that they can independently say that they can blame the market fire, the Adum market fire, on the power fluctuations. Is this backed by science?
Oh, yes, science. Electricity is science. Electricity is science and data, science and data. So 8 out of 10, that's data. But on a more serious note, Lily, we'll go deeper into the matter. And so
the Electricity Company of Ghana says Dumso cannot be blamed for that market.
They were too premature in taking themselves out of that. They should be sensitive to the people, about 6,000 people who have lost their livelihoods, who have lost their stores, who have lost their investments because of Dumso. Because they've been in those stores for all these years and they know how things have gone. So they should not be quick to absolve themselves from blame. An independent body like this committee, we are going to, without prejudice, if we come out and we're able to ascertain all factors and we say that from our findings we do not think it is Dumso, then ECG can come in. But it's too early for them. They should be busy fixing Dumso. They should be busy fixing the fluctuations in power to keep our lights on. We are paying for it. They should keep it on. All Ghanaians are asking, keep the lights on and stop the fluctuation that results in destruction of appliances in homes and that results in the fire that wipes out people's investment. But Lily, this country has demonstrated that we are truly, empathetic as a state. And the state has set precedent, demonstrated that we are responsive whenever our compatriots are distressed. And so in Apiate, for instance, the state led in 2023, the government led that effort with philanthropists who mobilized resources, went and reconstructed the whole community, put them back in livelihood. We also saw the unfortunate Akosombo Dam spillage that flooded homes and farms of our good friends and brothers in the Volta region, and how in the 2025 budget, the government made an allocation of 242 million cedis to support the victims. It's a worthy gesture which I support. The budget also further voted 200 million cedis to support victims of the tidal wave that happened around Keta, Kitu, South, and that area, which is a worthy allocation I support. In much the same principle and precedent, equally deserving are the people of Kantamanto, equally deserving are the people of Konongo Dumase, equally deserving are the people of Adum, equally deserving are the people in Techiman who have also been distressed lost their investment, their shops, their stores, properties gutted, livelihoods gone. We also have to vote commensurate budgetary allocation to support the victims, so that in all fairness, we treat our citizens equally and go on to demonstrate that we do not have any partiality. If our brothers or sisters in one area who, when they were in distress, the state came to their aid, we should not leave the victims of Adum to the benevolence of. I hear some 600,000 was given, and they are sharing 600,000 for 6,000 people. What is that going to do? So the state should have a more comprehensive financial approach to supporting the people of Adum, the people of Konongo Dumase, the people of Techiman and Kantamanto, so that their livelihoods are brought back, just like we are doing for our very good brothers and sisters in the Volta region.
Talking about empathy and impartiality, yesterday the former Vice President, Dr. Mahama Bawumia, visited the scene, commiserated with victims and made donations. Why did the Vice President choose the Ashanti region? Is it because it's the World Bank of the NPP? The tidal wave also happened this year. Why did the Vice President not visit them?
Well, the Vice President has visited many victims who were in distress, from Appiate to most of these incidents that I mentioned. And so he hasn't shown impartiality. Okay. And so for the record, he hasn't shown impartiality at all. He has demonstrated fairness to all. He had commiserated with all who were affected in various disasters, not even limited to the ones I have mentioned at all.
At this particular visit, the Vice President mentioned categorically that he's urging government to complete phase 2 of the KGTR market. KGTR market phase 2, those people have been waiting 8 years ago, 5 years ago. Why didn't the MPP?
Yeah, whenever those conversations come up, it's almost as if, yes, if you have been in government for 8 years, then you don't have any rights to make certain demands. That is not governance. There's a reason why a government is in power. There's a reason why you have taken over. And so once you take over, it is your responsibility to continue, because governments are continue. And we have a local adage that says, Idijawa, Nediaswao. So if you come to meet it and we hand it over to you, it is responsibility. If you're enjoying the privileges that come with it, you must also be reminded about the responsibility. The KGTR Market Phase 2 is an iconic project, so important to the good people in Ashanti region, especially.
Was it important to the NPP at the time?
It has been important to all of us, and they have taken over at this point in time. We are not in power. They are in power. And so, be that as it may, they are the ones responsible to continue, and the call is on them to continue.
Okay, let's end with the. There's a particular issue that I want to touch on. That's the removal of the CJ. Before I come to the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, because I want to. The president says it will be state-sponsored, whether or not that will defeat your private member's bill.
But has the president introduced any bill? It's just paying lip service. It's just rhetoric. He just say, "Oh, I'll bring a bill. I'll bring it." Has it brought any bill? No. When we started the budget, how many bills have amendments here and there? Several of them have been introduced. And so it's not about, oh, we have not been in government for. If the president truly wants to sponsor any such bill to deal with LGBT-related practices, he should quickly bring it. Until he brings it, all we have pending in the 9th Parliament is the private members' bill we are dealing with. No one can say that throw it away or stand it down until such a time, indefinitely, when we don't even know whether the president. And I am saying it on this your show, Lily. There is no way President Mahama will ever introduce any such bill. He will never sponsor any such bill.
Why do you have that conviction?
Mark my words. President Mahama will never sponsor any state-sponsored, government-sponsored bill against LGBT. Mark my words.
Why?
We're in this country. 4 years will come. You come and bring me your stone. So all we have is this bill. And that is the hope of the 93%, the only hope of the 93% of the population, overwhelming majority of Ghanaians, to be able to protect, preserve our practices, our norms, our beliefs, and our beautiful and respectable culture. That is all we have. And so we are not waiting for something that may not end. Who will come and persecute top clerics, top clergymen, the leaders, the fathers of this land, the fathers of Christianity, notable fathers of the Christian sect. President Mahama and his oral team, they are going after them. They want to jail them. They want to disgrace them. They want to persecute them. And some of us will not sit down for our fathers to be disgraced, to be dragged in the mud. In relation to the National Cathedral.
Okay.
Yes, see, one thing I must say is that, and I say this very carefully, advisedly, and most respectfully, with the greatest of respect. But Christians in this country, we should be very measured how we throw Christianity under the bus whenever issues of Christianity come up, and the kind of passion and excesses and whatever we want to attach to it. When the National Cathedral issue came, it almost became an abomination that such a project should even come up. It was attacked right from the beginning. Be that as it may, whatever status that it is, if there are issues around it, it should be resolved. But we should not give the dog a bad name just to hang it, and in the process go after top pastors who did not do any wrong, but were just associated with this worthy project to support it, for the worthy place to be constructed and built for the whole country to worship God. We bastardized Christians. Muslims didn't take part. Buddhists didn't take part. Traditionalists didn't take part. It took our own Christians who let that onslaught. That onslaught gave credence, gave oxygen to a persecution that is now going to result in some of our very revered fathers, if we do not intervene, who are going to be disgraced. Some of us will not sit down for President Mahama to make that history. But whatever length we will go, we will protect our fathers. We will protect our fathers. Wherever length we will go, we will not allow, our fathers all we have, we will not allow any president, politician to disgrace them in any attempt to score any political points. There are many cases that should be prosecuted. Have they done? You are freeing all those cases, and you want to disgrace our fathers, our prophets, our bishops, our archbishops, our apostles. We would not allow that to happen.
Do the cloak of clergy, or does the cloak of clergy insulate you from the rule of law?
Does the cloak of politics or political cronyism insulate or give immunity to any political class or any friend related to a politician from prosecution? So if the answer is no, why has he freed the 12 high-profile cases and wanting to go after our fathers?
Why not allow the rule of law to take
No,
if the
rule of law will be taken, will be allowed to take its course, he should first bring back those cases, reintroduce them, let trial continue. Then nobody will have grounds. But that principle of selectivity, selecting, picking, and choosing, it is shameful. And for us, we won't sit down. No matter, they can join some of us to the persecution. But whatever they will do to us, we will take the bullet for our fathers. We will not stand for our fathers for anybody's political ambition or political egoism to touch them. We would not allow anyone to touch our fathers. Touch not the anointed. They just came, in good faith, just to support, so that they were. We have National Cathedral.
How much money was spent in the National Cathedral project? 58 million, right?
I'll come to that. But it's a project that hasn't ended.
So it's not even started, has it?
You're talking about 258 million, right? $200 million has been pumped into the Hajj village. Have you heard any Muslim criticizing it? Have you heard any? They would never do that. Why? Because they won't make the mistake Christians made. They will never do that. They will never bastardize their projects. But we live in the secular state. We live in a state that has multi faith. But we, the Christian sect, must not sit down for our fathers to be disgraced, because you touch the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. And so it is not a matter that should be left with it is rule of law, it is law, and all. If it is law, why has that same law left some people off the hook? People who are already facing persecution. Why don't you continue You left them because they are your friends, they are your party people, but you want to go after neutral, impartial pastors, bishops, fathers, apostles, people who have lived all their lives serving Christ without any blemish. You want to come and ding their reputation, and by extension, ding the reputation of the Christian community, who are about over 73% of the population.
Wrongs. Because if we have
done any wrong?
58 million into a hole, don't you think for us as Ghanaians, we have every reason to question it?
What wrong have the pastors done?
They superintended over that.
Do you have any facts, any evidence to the fact that, or does President Mahama or his oral team have any evidence to the fact that any of these pastors diverted any funds?
Well, we're not talking about the diversion of funds. We're talking about superintending over a wrong. Because if I have invested money in something, I'm sure if you invest in something, you will want to reap benefits. So if, as a country, we have invested 58 million, don't you think that we have every reason to ask what our monies were expended on?
Yeah, you can ask questions, but you don't ask questions by going after persecuting innocent pastors.
Right.
Yes, these pastors are innocent, and the impression must not be created. And I'm saying so. You saw how they came, their media trial. They came, the Attorney General came on air, held a press conference, and said all kinds of things about individuals, even before they are trialed. Even before primary facie case will be charged and put before the court for court to try them. He has come, NDC has come to try them in the media, pronounce them guilty, pass judgment on them, and completely smear their reputation and painted a very bad picture of them to the entire country and beyond the shores of this country. And the next thing they are going to do is to conduct media trial of these innocent pastors, say all kinds of fabrications about them, and then lump all of them together and persecute them and destroy the image of Christianity before any court may even proceed. And that is what we are signaling to the president, that this Christian community will not do. If you are among the 6.3 million people who voted for President Mahama and you call yourself a Christian, don't sit down for our pastors, our fathers to be trialed in the media and disgraced and destroyed. It will destroy the very foundation of the religion and the practice we believe in. If you touch the shepherd, the sheep will scatter, and we will put a resistance to that. And I expect a bipartisan coalition on this fight. Whether you are NDC, you are MPP, these fathers, they cut across. Some are within the Orthodox, some are within the Pentecostal, some are within the Charismatic, and all form. They cut across. If you think that they are going to persecute only the people who didn't resign, and they will lump all of them, whether they were, even if they spent a day as members of the board of trustees. Don't think that you are safe because you resigned. They will lump you, they will disgrace you, and they will try you in the media and destroy your church, destroy your followers. We will not allow that to happen.
Let's finally talk about the CJ. Yesterday, the government's spokesperson, Felix Kwachu mentioned that there were 3 petitions before President Mahama, and he has forwarded them to the Council of State for advice on the removal of the Chief Justice.
Yeah, but clearly he has demonstrated his intent from their pronouncement even before the elections. They had clearly stated their intent to destroy the independence of the judiciary. So let them continue to make history. But 4 years will come very shortly, and there will be opportunity to reset. If this is the kind of reset they promised, going after judges, going after chief justices, going after electoral commissioner, going after all kinds, so they can use the rhetorics and gimmicks of petition here, we refer to Council of State, but they've already made their intent clear, and everybody in Ghana knew that they were going to conduct an onslaught on the Chief Justice, who has so consensuously and so impartially delivered and will go down in history as one of the best Chief Justices we've ever had in the Fourth Republic this country has ever had. Whatever they want to do, they can go under the guise of legal procedures and do whatever they had intended to do. But see, if civil society organizations and if Ghanaians are going to be quiet and say that touch 1, touch 2, touch 3, before you know it, it is the very institutions that we've spent 3 decades in building are the very institutions this reset is about to destroy. And we will only have the opportunity after 2028 to go back and rebuild everything. It will cost us a lot, and it will cost us a lot of the credentials we have obtained as a country, being the beacon within the sub-region, everybody looking up to us, our governance credentials, democratic credentials. They want to erode all these with vindictiveness, unnecessary, vengeance. It is not necessary. President Mahama, if I were him, in his second term, should be an opportunity to right the wrongs in the first term, an opportunity to leave a good name, an opportunity for legacy, an opportunity to unite this country, an opportunity to build upon institutions, an opportunity to go back and be said that, no, we had a president who had a first chance, and clearly 1 million of the population turned him down and sacked him for so many things they thought were wrong, and then gave him an opportunity again another time. But he came and he did what was right. He came and he did not conduct any vengeance. He came. Some of those vengeance, they are people, they may not even be President Mahama's personal vengeance. There may be some people around him. And so he should not allow them to exert their personal vindictiveness. Jakarta and all that he's doing is his personal vendetta. It's his personal scores he's settling. So President Mahama should not allow some elements around him to, have my favorite word, egoistic, tendencies that will have cast, issues around his tenure and spoil the good legacy he ought to leave. He has 1 term. And that's all he has. And he should leave a good name than going after institutions and people and persecuting pastors and all that.
Talking about persecution, finally, this is my final question on Boko. Has the committee received any briefing from the military on the brutalities and the chaos that ensued in Boko?
Boko conflict is one that all of us must be concerned about. Every well-meaning Ghanaian must be concerned about the conflict and all that we can do as a state to resolve this. Let us support President Mahama. He has clearly indicated right from the outset his commitment to bring peace in Boko. And so I appeal that every Ghanaian should support. As we speak, President Mahama has appointed Otumfo Osejutu, that's Antihine, to be the chief mediator. And given the kind of respect and how venerable and the credentials that Otumfo and the gravitas he holds, he is well pleased to assist President Mahama. So far, the processes have started. We are also appealing to all factions within the Boko inter-ethnic, peace building. There was a committee. We are appealing that Boko inter-ethnic peace committee should reconvene. We are appealing that dialogue should reconvene. We are appealing that tempest must calm. And Boko is Ghana. And therefore, whatever happens in Boko has ripple effects also here. And there's lots of resources that the state also will be expending until such a time that is resolved. Those same resources can be used to transform the entire Upper East region. We are appealing that the tempest should calm. We have seen similar such conflicts being resolved. The Adum conflict was one very sensitive one, which is of very similar stature. It has been resolved. So we are very confident that if all of us give the support, security agencies are doing their best, Peace Council is doing its best, Otumfo is doing his best, but more importantly, the fooding factions, we are appealing to them to also allow us play their role. The Defense and Interior Committee is also taking very, bipartisan. My chairman, Honorable Agaga, is very enthused about, whatever the committee can do to support, and we've started it. So all of us should support. Let's bring peace to Boko, and it will be a feather not only in the cap of President Mahama, though he is a leader, he will enjoy that feather and will support him to enjoy it, but it will be a feather in the cap of all Ghanaians that we resolve that conflict.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you. That's Reverend GHOne Ntimfojor. He's the Member of Parliament for Ascent South. He is the ranking on the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament. That's it for Hard Talk. My name is Lily Muhammad.
You're welcome back to the show. This is GH Today. I am Serwaa Amihere. Let's quickly do some birthday wishes.